Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the 9 components that are necessary for a successful program plan. So let's dive in and get started. So the first component that you guys should consider as you're developing your program plan is the program summary. And as the name delineates, a program summary is a brief overview of the story of your organization or the story of your program or project. This should include any founding history, current activities and operations that are in implementation, as well as what you seek to do. You should also have data that supports what your organization is achieving, so you can have different numbers, how many participants is being served through your program, how many families are being impacted by the resources that you offer, how many people are being changed by the courses that you provide to help with financial literacy. And so this should be in a narrative format where you are telling the story of your organization. Some people allow their program summaries to be maybe 1 to 2 pages long. 1.5 pages is totally fine, but this should give a broad overview of who is such and such, what is such and such, and the things that you guys are doing. So the second component to a program plan can be your project description. Now, this is optional and it just depends on the nature of the work that is being done. A project description is focusing on a specific project that the organization is undertaking to hit the organization's overall mission, vision, and values. So for example, if your nonprofit focuses on helping low-income families that are being impacted by food insecurity, a specific project you can launch can be program nutrition or project nutrition or something of that title. And what you guys are doing is providing different activities and resources, workshops and webinars for these families to understand the purpose of nutritional meals, how to budget for nutritional meals. You can also offer cooking classes for these families. It depends on, whatever it is that you guys are wanting to execute. The project description will delineate the objectives of this particular project and how that links to the goals of the overall nonprofit's mission and different things that you guys are trying to achieve. And so a project description can be maybe 1 to 1.5 pages, just depending on the different forms of information that you guys want to include. You should also have research backing up why you guys are delineating this project and why it's necessary to really advance your organization's mission. Third component to a successful program plan are your goals and your objectives. And in my experience, a lot of nonprofit leaders or people that are interested in doing social impact work tend to struggle with this because we have these great ideas, but we don't really have the small building blocks, which would be your goals and your objectives, to help navigate how we're going to really achieve this big overarching thing that we're trying to achieve. I also think a lot of people do not understand the difference between goals and objectives, and again, sometimes the jargon can make the knowledge a little difficult to understand. And so to give it in the most broadest term, a goal is simply an overarching statement that your organization is looking to achieve. This can be based on program, evaluation. This can be on activities. This can be based on anything. But again, it can also be based on program participants and what they should be getting from this program. We also have our objectives, which are literally telling people this is what we're going to do to achieve this overarching goal. And so I have an example here that is very simple. This is based on a fictitious nonprofit that I created called Ready for Work. So the goal states, participants will be placed at a job within 6 months of completing Ready for Work's readiness program. So that is telling the audience, this is the goal that we're wanting to achieve. We want our program participants to be able to find a job within 6 months post program. The objective states, By the end of this program, participants will demonstrate sufficient understanding in the following competencies: skills training, socio-emotional intelligence, professional development, and mentorship. So you see how the two are linked. The goal is we want our program participants to be able to land a job within 6 months. And after completing our program, the objective is they'll be able to understand the following competencies that I've already listed: socio-emotional intelligence, professional development, skills training, and mentorship. I also want to go ahead and cover component number 4, which are going to be our outcomes. I have seen outcomes and goals categorized as one, and I've seen them separated. So an outcome is very similar to a goal, but in most program plans and templates that I've seen, the outcomes have been learner focused or program participant focused, meaning the outcomes are specifically focusing on what the people that are engaging with your program should gain after completing the activities related to your organization. But again, I've also seen this delineated as a program goal. So I think it depends on the language, but they are pretty much interchangeable. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that, because the template that I've provided, I have categorized goals and outcomes in the same flow chart just to make it simple for my new individuals that are learning, social impact jargon and terminology. So component number 5 to building a successful program plan is your stakeholders, and you can develop a stakeholder analysis, which helps you to understand who you need to engage with. So for example, when I was in the development stages of the assistantship program for the university that I work for, some of the stakeholders that I engaged with included the departments on campus, different organizations throughout the city that I'm in, local offices that provide professional development and mentorship opportunities to students. I also engaged with corporate sponsors, so these were local nonprofits, business agencies, private industry leaders, and so forth. So you see how you can engage with different people at different times, because they all provided different needs and had resources that I could leverage to make sure that we have a successful and seamless ecosystem for our students that will be coming through the program. As you are developing your stakeholder analysis, it's also important to understand why are you wanting to engage with them. I think a lot of times we engage with people that may not have the best benefit to what we're trying to do, and we also categorize them in the wrong place. So you're looking for funding, but you're engaging with a nonprofit that can't provide that. They may be better suited to help you build coalition, help advocate with you on whatever issue you're working towards, or helping provide different resources that your nonprofit doesn't have at the moment. So also analyze why you're wanting to engage with this specific entity, and what can they help you with, and what can you help them with, so that you guys can build a successful partnership. So component number 6 to your program plan are your summary of activities, and this is for my marketing and communication people that love to organize and pull things together, and even if you don't, that's totally okay. But this section is literally where you delineate what activities do you want to engage in as you are developing your program. This can include fundraising activities, town halls where you're getting feedback from different community leaders and participants, engaging with donors or potential donors. Whatever it is, it can look different depending on the stages that you're in as you're building out your nonprofit. It doesn't have to be this fancy timeline, but you need to have the activity type, the date or intended date. You need to have a budget of how much money is going to be necessary to put this event on, if applicable. And then I will also encourage you to include what is the goal of this activity. What is it that you're wanting to get out of launching or leading this activity? Is it wanting to bring on donors? Is it wanting to engage with more volunteers? Is it wanting to bring more awareness to your program so that people will know who you are and what you do? And this can really help you when it comes to your marketing and communications plan, which we're going to talk about in a second. So component number 7 to your program plan is the marketing and communications section. Marketing is literally understanding who you are as a brand and being able to communicate that to your audience. This should include a stakeholder analysis, understanding the program demographics of people that you're trying to reach. What kind of colors do you want your organization to represent? Do you have a logo? Where is your typography? Do you have a website? Different things like that. And then on the communication side, it is literally how are you reaching your target audience? How are you reaching your donors? Are you engaging in email campaigns? Are you hosting galas? Are you hosting corporate, partnerships and engaging in, other activities and events where you're bringing more awareness to a specific campaign or, a specific initiative that your organization is leading? And this doesn't have to necessarily be the most detailed, but it's good to know what methods that you want to engage in so that you can push your message out to the people. And also, what do you want them to see when they think of you? What do you want them to see when they see your website and different things like that? We live in a society now where with social media, everything is in short form, everything is digitized and different things like that. So you want to be able to adapt to the times, adapt to the different generations of people and what they may need. And just because things are digitized doesn't mean that there aren't other manual ways of engaging with people. People still check their emails. Everybody isn't on TikTok, right? So as you are developing your marketing and communications plan, if you're not sure where to start, if you don't know what type of things you need to be doing, again, go back to the drawing board, look at the research in your industry and figure out what are other comparable organizations doing, and maybe you can start at a smaller scale engaging in those activities as well. Component number 8 to your program plan is the budget. The budget should delineate how much it costs to get everything done. This includes operations within your organization. This can include the materials that are needed for your programs and different activities that you are wanting to engage in. This also includes any salaries, wages, and benefits that you are needing to include if you have any staff members on your team or a part-time individual that is helping you get things off of the ground. If you are unsure of where to start and what to do, I highly encourage you to reach out to a financial consultant or someone that is CPA certified that can help you gain a better understanding of how to put numbers to your activities. A lot of times nonprofit leaders engage in these wonderful activities and we realize that we don't have enough money, and so some of us are operating in a deficit, or some of us can't really do what we need to do because we don't know how to maximize a dollar and get maximum impact. Component 9 to a successful program plan is the evaluation section. This looks completely different based on the needs of the nonprofit, and if you are unsure of where to start with that, I would encourage you to seek external help for this. But at the baseline of everything, you have two broad categories of evaluation. You have quantitative methods, which is focusing on the numbers, and then you have qualitative methods, which is focusing on things that cannot be quantified. So for example, with your quantitative methods, you could say we had 30 people land a job within 6 months of completing our workforce development program. So you have a number that represents impact on how many program participants were able to land a job. And then you have something that is qualitative. This can be feedback from a program participant or a group of program participants based on an interview, an exit interview, or a survey that was completed, or a focus group that was held. There are other ways to evaluate how well your program is running, and I can delve into this a little more in detail in another topic because there is so much to know about program evaluation. But the biggest thing is making sure that you are doing what works for your organization. It is important to make sure you're choosing the right evaluative methods so that you are getting the outcomes from that specific measurement that you need. And again, if you need help with that, please consult help. There are many resources available that you can engage with, and you can also glean on other nonprofits to see what they're doing to measure their programs. There are a lot of nonprofits that can't afford program evaluation systems and instruments and stuff, and it's a very intricate process, but take your time. This is something that you can always revisit as your program or initiative unfolds and builds, but it's still good to have an idea of what is it that you're measuring and how you're going to measure it to show your stakeholders that, hey, this is what we're doing, this is why it's necessary, because this is the impact in data that is supporting the cause. Please be mindful of the audience that you're engaging with. So the good thing about having a complete program plan is that there are some things that some stakeholders may not need to know. So for example, if you're wanting to engage with community leaders that you're wanting to understand what it is that a specific community needs, they may not need to know the timeline of activities or your marketing and communications section of your program plan. So you can adapt your program plan as necessary depending on the needs of the stakeholder. If you are wanting to engage with donors, they may need to know your evaluation plan so that they can see how are you measuring the impact that you're making for your program participants. So it all depends on who you're engaging with. And so the good thing is once it's done, and you can kind of omit or edit or add as you need to as you continue to build community and relationships around your project, your program, or your initiative. So until next time, I wish you guys well on your journey to becoming great social impact leaders and try to make the world a better place today.